A warm welcome to all the viewers for the course Strength of Materials AME 302. Myself Thiapal, Assistant Professor of Department of Mechanical Engineering, JIS College of Engineering, and today I am going to give a detailed lecture on shear stress that has been produced by torque. So as I have already came across the introduction lecture in my part 1 lecture, and this is the module of torsion we will be talking about, and this is probably the second lecture of module 5, that is the torsion in the circular shaft. And you can see today we are going to discuss about the shear stress which is produced by a torque. So I know that all of you know that if I look for the industry or in any engineering field, then I must say some turning force has been implemented over the rotational body to transmit the energy. And so that is actually we are discussing about the torque, and you are all aware of the twisting moment, because twisting moment is that whenever you are implementing rotational of the plane in the longitudinal axis or polar axis, then we are getting the twisting moment. So you all are aware of all those things that I have already explained in the previous lecture. So what we know in case of solid mechanics, if I talk about the solid mechanics, then torsion is what? It is the twisting of that particular thing by twisting force, or the I meant to say rotational force. And here we are going to say that whenever we are implementing or we are using the torque over a object or a shaft, basically that particular section it experiences the shear stresses. And today in this particular lecture we are going to discuss in details what are the shear stresses that has been produced by the torque. So without any further delay, let us have a look at the contents. So in the contents, first we are going to have an introduction, that is shear stress that has been produced by torque. Then we are going to discuss about the strength of a hollow shaft. Then we are going to discuss that how the power is transmitted by the shaft. And finally we will be discussing some sort of numericals in this particular content. So first we are going to have a look, that is shear stress produced by the torque. So if you talk about the shear stress, then I must say that the shear stress which has been produced by torque vary from 0 at the center of the cross section to maximum surface in the circumferential direction. So whenever you are talking about the circumferential direction, that means you are talking about the external fiber of that particular shaft. So I have also told you in my previous lecture that is shear stress is basically produced by the torque, and if you want to get the value of, I mean to say if you want to get the maximum value of this shear stress, then you can obtain at the external fiber of that particular shaft. And if you want to get the minimum value of this shear stress that is equivalent to 0, then you can obtain it at the center, okay, or you can talk about at the neutral axis, that is the central axis, okay, or you can say the longitudinal axis or the polar axis, and you can obtain the maximum shear stress on the circumferential direction, that is in the external fiber of the shaft. So shear stress in the direction normal to the cross sectional plane are always complementary in nature, and it has got some sort of magnitude. Again I am repeating, shear stress in direction normal to the cross sectional plane are always complementary in nature, and obviously it has got some equal magnitude too. So according to this portion that we have came across, or we know the torsional equation, I mean to say torsional formula, where you can see that shear force or shear stress at any point again I am repeating, shear stress at any point at a distance of r. That means you are considering here the distance to be as r. You can consider the distance to be as x, then in case of x, that means you are going to consider x as the value there where you are writing. So, right now in this particular slide we have considered a shear stress at any point at a distance r from the center is given by a torsional formula. So, if you look at the torsional formula, then what you are getting? That is T by IP is equal to tau by r is equal to g theta by L. So, again I am repeating, T by IP is equal to tau by r is equal to g theta by L. Now, g, it can be represented by c also, because g or even c both represent modulus of rigidity. What is IP? IP is polar moment of inertia. If you talk about g, it is known as modulus of rigidity. If you talk about theta, it is angle of twist which has been considered in radian. If you talk about L, it is the length of the shaft, and if you talk about the r, it is the radius of the shaft. So, here what you have got from this particular equation, that is T by IP is equal to tau by r is equal to g theta by L. So, if you consider the maximum shear stress that can occur, that will be represented as R equal to R max is equal to R. So, this R is what? It is the radius that you are considering in the plane or in the surface of the circular shaft. So, R is equal to R max, that is equal to R. So, if I ask you what is the value of maximum shear stress, then how you are going to calculate? You have to use the value of R to the maximum level, because the radii of the shaft at the surface, if you are obtaining that as to be maximum, then obviously you will be getting the shear stress also maximum. And as per the assumption I have already told, that whenever you are rotating or twisting the shaft, okay, then the area of the cross section before the twisting moment will remain same after the twisting moment also. So, there is also one sort of assumption is there, that about the cross section, that you have to keep in mind, and along with that you have to keep in mind how to get maximum shear stress. So, if you talk about the maximum shear stress, again I am repeating what I have told is that this is the particular formula, that is tau max is equal to T by IP into R max, which is equal to T by IP into R. IP means polar moment of inertia, and T is what? That is your torsion. Okay. And R max, that is your value or radius of the shaft that you have considered, and that radius of the shaft you have to consider the maximum one. So, R is equal to R max is equal to capital R, that is the radius of the shaft. So, from here you can see that how we are going to find out the value for shear stress that is been produced by the torque. So, tau max, that is the maximum shear stress, it can be obtained as T by IP into R max, which is equal to T by IP into R. Now, let us move to the next slide. So, as we were discussing about the shear stress produced by the torque, now let us have a look. So, as I have already told, you can obtain maximum shear stress value at the extreme or the outer circumference of the particular shaft. So, at the surface of the shaft of any element, again I am repeating, at the surface of shaft at any element as shown in the figure will be subjected to maximum shear stress, and we know that pure shear or principal stress is represented by sigma 1. It will be positive if you are considering as tensile, and sigma 2 it will be your minus negative shear stress if you consider as compressive. So you have to remember two of the thing. So finally, if I want to know what is the maximum shear stress, then the value is sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2. That means tau max minus tau max, because one is compressive in nature, another is tensile in nature. So whatever may be the value for sigma 1, you have got a tensile value that has been considered to be positive. Sigma 2, it has been considered as to be negative because it is a compressive one. So tau max is sigma 1 minus sigma 2, that is by 2. You will get tau max minus tau max by 2. So minus minus, you can see this will be considered to be as plus. So what you are getting? 2 tau max by 2. So finally you have got tau max as the final value for tau max. So again I am holding the formula, that is tau is equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2. And for sigma 1, what you have done, that is plus tau max, that is your tensile, and this is your sigma 2, that is equal to minus tau max. So this has been told as compressive. Okay. Now next, have a look in the next content. So if I talk about the shear stress that has been produced by torque, I must say, since brittle material have got minimum tensile strength, so brittle material basically fail in principal tension. So whenever principal tension is occurring, in that particular case, principal tension that is occurring for brittle material, you have got minimum tensile strength. So for shear stress that has been produced by torque, we can come to a conclusion that in case of brittle material, we will be obtaining minimum tensile strength, because brittle material usually fail in principal tension. So just have a look at this particular shaft, and you can see this is a particular shaft, and you consider this to be as your, just a minute, this you consider as to be your longitudinal axis, or it is known as the polar axis. And what they have done is that there is a particular thing, that shaft has been rotated in a clockwise direction. So you can see that actually here what happens, the value that you are getting, it will be obviously in the positive manner, and you can see this is the axis through which you are considering as the brittle failure plane, this particular axis. So if you consider this particular portion, so this particular portion that I have represented by blue line, okay, this is none other than your brittle failure plane, and this is what, this red line, this is your polar axis or longitudinal axis. And you can see how this brittle failure plane basically occurs. And if you see about this particular shaft, then you can see that here the material get failure due to torsion. So this is your torsional failure, how it is occurring for brittle material. So if I come to the conclusion for the shear stress that has been produced by the torque, the initially thing that comes in our mind, that is, it's all about the surface of the shaft of any element as you can see, we are talking here, and it is subjected to maximum shear stress, and we know in case of pure shear or principal stress, sigma 1 is represented by positive value of maximum shear stress, it is for tensile, and sigma 2 it is negative maximum shear stress. Why negative symbol? Because this is all about compressive. So if I talk about the maximum shear stress, then I must say tau max is equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2, which is equal to tau max minus and minus of tau max by 2. So here in this particular equation you can see this minus minus will consider to be as positive shear stress maximum. So here you are getting, after summing up or after making the addition, that is 2 tau max by 2. So finally you get tau max. Okay. And as I have already told, that is minimum tensile strength, because brittle material have minimum tensile strength. That's why brittle material always fail in principal tension. Now let's move to the next slide. Again we are talking about, that is the shear stress that has been produced by torque. If I talk or if I consider in any sort of torsion, then I must say maximum principal stress are always developed at 45 degree from the longitudinal axis. Longitudinal axis, or you can say the polar axis, that is the center line of your circular shaft. So if you want to have a maximum principal stress, then what you have to do is that you have to develop the plane at an angle of 45 degree from your longitudinal axis, and due to this reason brittle material failure plane is always at an angle of 45 degree from its longitudinal plane. And if I talk about the ductile material, then I must say ductile materials are weak in shear, and since ductile material are weak in shear, that's why ductile material always fail due to principal shear stress. Clear? And brittle material always failure occur for what? From the 45 degree longitudinal plane. And in torsion, if we perform any sort of test to know the maximum shear stress, then it is always obtained in the direction which is perpendicular to the longitudinal axis or polar axis. So whenever you are talking about the longitudinal axis or polar axis, that means if you want to obtain the maximum shear stress by performing some sort of torsion test, then it will be always in the direction that is perpendicular to the longitudinal axis, and hence ductile failure plane in torsion will be always perpendicular to the longitudinal axis. So for ductile material you cannot overlook that where the failure is occurring or in which place it is occurring due to torsion. It will be always perpendicular to your longitudinal axis. So you can see this as a figure, and this is, you can see this particular thing is what? Your longitudinal axis. And if you consider in ductile how this failure is occurring, this is in this perpendicular direction. That is, failure occur or the failure plane is always perpendicular to the longitudinal axis for your ductile material. So you can see that if this is the specimen or this is the shaft, then you can see here the failure is occurring. In which material? In ductile material. So again I must say that shear stress produced by torque, whatever may be the thing, if I consider in torsion, maximum principal stress are basically developed at an angle of 45 degree from the longitudinal axis, and for brittle material failure plane is always at an angle of 45 degree from the longitudinal axis. But if I consider the ductile material, then I must say ductile materials are weak in shear. That's why ductile material always fail due to principal shear stress. And in torsion test, maximum shear stress is in the direction that is perpendicular to the longitudinal axis, and hence ductile failure plane in torsion will be always perpendicular to your longitudinal axis. Hope from this particular figure it is clear to all of you, because you can see here the ductile failure is occurring in what manner, and in the previous slide if you just have a look, okay, then what you will be seeing is that in this particular figure how you are getting this particular thing, it has been already explained. Now we are discussing the strain of a hollow shaft. Okay, I have already discussed the strain of a solid shaft in my previous lecture, and right now we are going to discuss a hollow shaft. So you can see here that R, it is from the center to the outer surface. Capital R is your outer radius of the shaft. Okay, and now you have considered an elementary strip. This is the elementary strip at a distance of x. So x is also known to you, R is also known to you. Now consider the thickness of this particular shaft or particular strip in the hollow shaft as dx. So it means that maximum torque or power a hollow shaft can transmit from one pulley to another, you have to use some hollow circular shaft, and it has to be subjected to some sort of torque. What we have considered, capital R as your outer radius of the shaft, it has to be in millimeter. R is the inner radius of the shaft, small r, it is in millimeter, and tau max, it is the maximum shear stress that has been developed in the outermost layer of the shaft material. Now if you consider an elementary ring, I have already told of thickness dx at a distance of x from the center as it has been given in the figure, then the area of the ring that you have to initially consider as dA is equal to 2 pi x into dx. And if you want to talk about the shear stress at this particular section, then tau x is equal to tau into x by r. X is what? That is the distance from the center of the center of that particular hollow shaft, and you have considered capital R as the outer radius of the particular shaft. And if you need to know the turning force equation, then it is always stress into area. So you know the value for stress and you know the value for your area. So stress is what? Tau into x by r, and you are multiplying with what? Dx. And if I consider dx, dx can be, or dA is equal to what? Dx can be written as dA by 2 pi x. And when you have put all the value in this particular equation, finally what you have got, turning force is none other than 2 pi tau by r into x square into dx. Now we are talking about the turning moment. Again I am telling turning moment of the element, if you consider, then turning moment has been defined as what? Turning force into the distance of the element from the axis of the shaft. So if turning force is equal to 2 pi tau by r into x square and into dx, and the distance of the element from the axis of the shaft I have already considered as x, then finally what you get is that 2 pi tau by r into x cube into dx. So this is the third equation that you have achieved. Now it is the time to calculate the total torque which can be transmitted and may be found out by some integrating the above equation between r and capital R. Why r and capital R? Because initially it is starting with a hollow shaft. So your inner radius is being considered as small r and your outer radius has been considered as capital R. So when you finally integrate to get the total torque, then what you have achieved? The final answer is pi by 16 into tau into capital D to the power 4 minus small d to the power 4 by d, and total torque unit is represented by Newton millimeter. So d is your external diameter of the shaft, which value is always equal to 2r, and 2d, 2 small d, it is the internal diameter of the shaft, which is always represented by 2 small r. Now let's solve a numerical. If you consider a hollow shaft of external and internal diameter as 80 millimeter and 50 millimeter, and you need to transmit the torque from one end to the other, you have to calculate what is the safe torque it can transmit. If you consider the allowable stress, shear stress, as 45 megapascal. So if you look at the solution, it's very simple. Given data is d has been given to you, capital D external diameter 80 millimeter, internal diameter 50 millimeter. So what is your allowable shear stress? It is about 45 megapascal, which is represented by 45 Newton per millimeter square. So if you want to know that the torque transmitted by the shaft, then again you are coming to the formula what? Pi by 16 into tau into d to the power 4 minus small d to the power 4 by d. So after putting the value of tau, that is maximum 45 Newton per millimeter square, and capital D as 80 and small d as your 50, and here again capital D as 80, you finally get the result, that is the maximum torque, safe torque it can transmit. It is none other than 3.83 kilonewton meter. So from this particular example, hope all of you are able to understand how we are going to calculate the safe torque for this particular numerical. Next we are talking about how to transmit the power by a shaft. So if you have already considered the thing, and then what I must say, that is n is the number of revolution per minute, T is the average torque that has been considered. So work done is always represented by force into distance. So force, what is that? That is the torque that it has been considered, that is the T, and the distance, that is 2 pi n. And finally if I ask you what is the work done per second, it is 2 pi n T by 60. So finally what you have got, work done per second, it is 2 pi n T by 60, which is represented in the unit kilonewton meter. Now if I talk about what is the power transmitted, then it is equal to work done in kilonewton meter per second. So if it is again calculated then what you have got, that is 2 pi nt by 60 kilowatt. Okay, so this is your basically power transmitted, or you can say this is equal to your work done in kilonewton meter per second. You have to keep a note, that is, if the torque is in Newton meter, then your work done will also be in Newton meter and your power will be also in watt. You have to remember, you have to consider the unit, because if the torque is in Newton meter, then work done will be also in Newton meter and your power will be also in watt. Okay. Now in the second numerical we are getting, if you have considered a circular shaft of 60 millimeter diameter which is running at 150 rpm, and if the shear stress is not exceed the 50 megapascal, then what will be the power which can be transmitted by the shaft? Solution is very easy. You know the torque transmitted formula, pi by 16 into tau into d cube, and the value is known to you because maximum shear stress is 50 kilonewton Newton per millimeter square. You know the diameter, that is your 60 millimeter, and you know the value of this particular torque you have calculated and you have achieved 2.12 kilonewton meter, and you know the value for power transmission, that is 2 pi nt by 60. So what you get, n is the rpm, that is the speed of the shaft, it is in rpm, it has been given 150, that has been put here. You know the value of the torque, that is 2.12, and finally you get the answer of the power which can be transmitted, it is 33.3 kilowatt. Now we are talking about a numerical where you have considered a hollow shaft of external and internal diameter as your 140 millimeter, and it can transmit a power of 120 rpm. Tell me the power of the shaft that can be transmitted if your shear stress is 50 megapascal. So what is the solution? The same thing. You know the value of the torque, you have achieved it, 9.56 kilonewton, and when we are talking about the power, again you put the value here and you get the ultimate result, that is 120 kilowatt. So guys, here I conclude the part 2 lecture of torsional in circular shaft of this particular module 5, and if you have liked the video, then please subscribe my channel and stay connected with me. And here in this today's lecture I have discussed how to know about the shear stress that has been induced by the torque over the circular shaft, and I have also discussed how to calculate the strength of a hollow shaft. Also we have discussed in this particular lecture how to calculate the power transmitted by the shaft, and we have solved several numericals in this particular lecture. Thank you viewers for watching the video, and be with me. Please stay connected, and if you have liked the video, again I would like to request all of you, please like the video and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much.